buddy. So you said wonderful speaker, Brian, and you didn't know that I'm a homegrown Southern California boy. So I'm like, hopefully I won't get too much things. But I love coming to see y'all and stuff. I usually start off my story by saying I grew up in a Christian home. I stopped doing that a while ago. I grew up in a religious home. And I'll get to that part in just a little while. But I am a recovering human doing, achiever, and fixer. Anybody identify with any of those out? Thank you. I'm not alone and things. And I have done some work just getting to know my heart over the last 10 years when life crashed, and we'll get there. But to unpack some of that so it all makes sense, my mother was born into an Italian immigrant family, only child. And back in 1935, C-sections were not a normal thing. It was an exploratory, brand new thing. And so when my mom was born, my grandmother went into a coma, okay? What I did not know or find out till I was 54 years old, that my grandmother beat my mom with a high heel shoe because she was so mad at her for that. My mom did not learn how to be a nurturing mom. In fact, my grandmother, her idea to help a baby stop crying, you guys ready for this? Poke him in the belly. I kid you not. So I grew up in a home where I never got nurture from mom. I didn't get hugs to this day. My parents are still alive. They're in their late 80s. My mom just turned 90. It's very awkward to hug my parents because I was never given that kind of unconditional love. And all of us as humans are looking at mom. Moms give unconditional love to their kids. And my mom just didn't get it. And I'm not mad at her for doing that, but what I needed to do is, in my worldview of protecting my heart, something's going on here. So 2 stories that happened to me that I stuffed down in my masculine heart for 50-some years. One happened when I was 3 years old. 3 years old, I'm in the back seat of a car. Now, mind you, in 1964, there's no child restraints, no seatbelts, and the cool place to sit is in the back seat on the hump between the 2 front seats, right? That's the best, because I can see this is great. So we literally back out of the driveway, head down the road, and I can still picture it like it happened yesterday. The milk truck backs out, and the lady driving slams on her brakes. Guess where I go? Pew! Right through the middle. I gashed my head on the dashboard, blood everywhere, crying. I remember this like it happened again yesterday. It's very etched in my tin. When you have trauma, it's there, and I've always just kind of stuffed it down. So I remember looking up at a bright light, just like that one right above me, and a needle coming toward my eye, because I have 13 stitches over my head, 13 times. Ow, ow, ow. And I am 3 years old, screaming my head off. And you know what my mother says to me? Grow up and be a big boy. Be brave, be a big boy. No touch, nothing. I'm 3 years old. Fast forward all of 2 years, and I'm at the bus stop for the first day of school. Now, nowadays, moms and dads will take their kids to their first day of kindergarten and walk them through, help them, make that transition. 1966, that didn't happen. So I'm at a school bus stop, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And bully punches me in the gut, and I double over in pain, and I'm crying. And what does mom say? Stop crying and be a big boy. Yeah, grow up. So what I learned looking back at that is that I've done a lot of work through Jamie Winship's Identity Exchange program, gone through all that to become an Identity Exchange catalyst. But what I learned in the healing process as I looked at that is the curse that was put on me from mom. Now, mom didn't sit there and say, I'm going to put a curse on you, but the evil one takes that stuff and twists it. Because here's what I heard. Grow up and be a big boy. So in other words, what I heard was stuff your emotions down and be a man. And I'm like, all right, I will. Fine, if that's what it is. But I didn't realize it then, but I did later on. On my dad's side, my dad is a preacher's kid. He was the middle child of a Methodist minister who spent all his time with the church kids and 0 time with the family. So my dad's oldest sister, his only sister, is 9 years older than him, and his brother is 9 years younger than him. So you can kind of see that that's kind of a big gap there. And my dad parented just like he heard, and that was, you got to go to church. And my dad is a Pharisee and a spiritual abuser. All I ever got from Dad was, Romans 8:28. No matter if I got an F on a test or I didn't get that job, Romans 8:28, it was always just hammering with the verses. And all in his head, never really knew me. And so the wound I got from Dad was, I don't see you, and I don't want to know you. Kind of some painful things to go through life. And again, I'm a fighter, so I'm like going, all right, fine. Now, I don't realize it then, but pretty much as I'm growing up, I'm realizing I'm on my own. I have got to figure out life on my own. No one's going to teach me. No one's giving me any attention. Here's what I found out. If you do really well in school, guess what you get? You get affirmation. You get attention. All right, so I'm like, fine, I'll just do that harder. And I was in the mentally gifted minors program, which was like accelerating. I used to beat my 4th grade teacher at adding up math problems, and she said, okay, this next problem's for everybody but Steve. So I'm like, okay. So I was getting affirmation, and even with sports, when I played sports, that's where I was getting it from. So I'm like going, my goal as I was growing up was I'm going to be somebody, and as soon as I can get a title after my name, in whatever I'm doing, then I will have arrived. I'll be married, I'll have a house, I've got kids, and a title, and so I'm off chasing that. Now, I'm going to church. I'm involved in our youth group at 10 years old. I accepted Christ. I prayed the prayer. My camp counselor took me out, explained what I thought was the gospel. When I say that, it was the doctrine of atonement, that Jesus died for my sins, and I believe that. But as I've gotten to work for other organizations, especially city to city, the gospel is way more than just the doctrine of atonement. So I prayed the prayer, went to Sunday school, involved in youth groups. But at 8 years old, something happened that really was a thread to the destruction of my life, the way I was headed, that I didn't know about. Walked into school, and again, a neighbor kid. What's with these neighbor kids? They're always doing the horrible things. But this guy named Billy, really his name is Billy, I'm not making that up. He shows me a Playboy magazine, and I look at my first naked picture of a woman, and I go, wow, I've never seen that before. So remember, I'm not attached to Mom. I'm not getting her love and unconditional love there. And I start slowly becoming attached to, let's just say, other women. So I was that guy that always had a girlfriend in every grade. And when I say girlfriend, you pass notes. Hey, I like you. Do you like me? Hey, stuff like that. But pretty much from 3rd grade on, I always had someone that I was being attached to. And then in my home was a very volatile place, full of anxiety, full of a lot of yelling and screaming. My mom would just explode in anger, and my dad was trying to fix it. So this is where I learned, hey, you've got to fix the wife when she explodes in anger and stuff. But while they were arguing, I've got anxiety in my heart, and I'm trying to hide and go hide in my bedroom and do things. There was always the threat of divorce. My mom she's just unloading all this emotion. And so I'm sitting there as 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old boy. Suddenly I'm developing this fear of being abandoned, because at any moment, from what I'm hearing, I'm going to go into foster care, my family's breaking up, you name it. And the other thing I learned is don't make a woman angry or she'll leave you. Literally, when I was dating my wife Julia, she picked a fight with me when we went out one time. She goes, I just want you to show some backbone. And go, if I get mad at you, you don't want to date me anymore. And she looked at me like, where did you get that? And so we are born with a way of trying to understand life in front of us with no way of understanding, because we think that's normal. So all these lies that were going in Steve's head. So as I'm going through junior high and high school, this pornography thing starts becoming a little bit more regular. And I say regular. What would happen is I'd get stressed out, and I would go to the liquor store and buy a newspaper for 25 cents and find a Playboy magazine, stick it in there and steal it and leave it, and go home, look at it, do the duty, and rip it up and be so full of self-hatred. I'm going, what's going on? And I just always pictured God is just kind of standing there with his arms crossed, looking at me like, really? You know, you're doing that again? And because that's how I saw God. I could go into church and I'd hear all these great things about him, but personally, I was stuck in this space of sexual brokenness, and I didn't know how to get off. There was nobody. You can't talk about this in the church. I bring it up in the church. I spent all this time trying to find a group of men like this, where you can be vulnerable, authentic, and honest. And in church, we mask up. Hey, how are you doing today? Oh, things are great. How's work? Oh, it's good. Went on these trips, and whatever. But we're faking it. We just got out of the car. We've heard this a million times. Arguing with the wife, yelling at the kids, and then we mask up, and nobody knows us. And remember, I had a dad who didn't want to know me. He was all in his head, always relentlessly beating me over the head with scripture verses, because that's all he knew how to do. And stuff. So when I got stressed out, it was to porn I ran. And as I got older, it's like, well, let's be curious. Let's try an X-rated movie theater. Let's try a strip club, things like that. And it was just never satisfying. And then I started believing the lie that, oh, when I get married, this will all go away. Nope. And then it's like, well, when I go to have kids, I don't want them to carry on the sins of the father. And so I'll stop that because I can do it on my own, right? Nope. I'm here to tell you, man, my 3 boys went through the same thing, but they had a dad who could talk to them about the root causes of that, and they're walking in freedom now through that stuff. But as my life went on, that was always there. And I believed the lie that if you really knew me, you wouldn't love me. So I've got to hide that from anybody because, things. So we move up to Portland, Oregon, because I'm chasing the title dream. And I was working in Christian radio for 16 years. I was producing radio programs that you hear on the radio, Swindoll and Dobson and Lucado and Dennis Rainey and all those guys. I was in the studio doing that. And so I go to work for Prison Fellowship on their major gifts team, and I do that for 6 years. And then a chance to get that title, that Vice President of Advancement title. I've arrived, right? We hit up to Portland. Do y'all know that it rains in Portland? Now, I knew that, but I thought, okay, it's got to stop sometime, right? It literally does not stop raining for 9 months. And my wife has that seasonal affective disorder. And so with no sunshine being out there, she's spiraling down into depression. My 2 youngest are going to the university that I accepted the position at, because when the president says you get 90% off of tuition, I say, so how many toilets do I need to clean and how long do I need to stay here? And things. So my 2 youngest were spiraling down into thoughts of suicide, and I'm like going, what's happening? And I found myself spiraling myself into pornography and stuff even more and more. And one day, the family was all together. We were in the family room. We'd just gone on a hike, September 5th, 2015. Still remember it. And I was playing Yahtzee on my phone, okay? And if I play Yahtzee with y'all here, I say, hey, I'm Steve, and I live in Portland, Oregon, and what's your name? Oh, so-and-so, I live in Franklin, Tennessee. So that's great. We play a game of Yahtzee, and that would be great. Touch to them. We say goodbye. So I'm sitting in the family room, you guys, and all of a sudden I get a new game started, and I look up in the corner, and there's already a tick mark on the very first roll, which was very odd and stuff. I'm saying, well, I'll check and see who this is. It was a comment from a 37-year-old blonde divorced woman who said, I'm lonely, I'm horny, what's your greatest sexual desire? I wish I could tell you that I did what Joseph did when Potiphar's wife was trying to get a hold of him and he turned and ran the other way. I did not. I'm not getting the attention here from my wife, and everything with porn and women online is you can be whoever you want to be, and they're going to give you the attention. So I went in the other room, and that started the first of a few inappropriate online relationships with women in very strong, inappropriate terms. That went on for a while, and fast forward about another 8 months, where Julie and I are heading to a wedding in Washington, and as we get going, all of a sudden, and this is where God works with our partners. She wants to look at my phone, and my heart rate and my nervousness went, oh crap, I hope I've covered everything up. I did not. She found out about a woman I was talking to. I had to pull over. I said, sweetie, we didn't go to the wedding. We went back home. She threw her clothes in the car and headed down to California, which is where, quote unquote, home is. And I thought, okay, what just happened? That's that. But my wife is the hero to this story, because later that night she sent me a song by Rascal Flatts, that I Will Stand By You, through everything. And I had a friend from Washington come down and stay with me. And so we went on, Julie and I went to a Focus on the Family Marriage Intensive in Branson, Missouri. I sat down, got to learn how to communicate feelings and emotions in an honest way. And nobody told me, though, that when I went back to Oregon that I needed to stay in counseling and that I needed to be in a recovery group. All I knew was, don't do this to your wife. It will really hurt her. And I'm like going, I got that. I can do that. If you don't understand the why beneath the what, you're going to end up doing it again and again and again. So I go back to Portland. Julie gets a job at Nordstrom for the Christmas time, but she was really going, I don't want to leave you alone at home because I don't want you to go through that. I said, oh, don't worry about it. I got this. Yeah, I didn't have it. So I got curious going, hey, I bet those women are probably wondering where I went, and I should probably contact them, because guess what? I'm getting the attention, and that's what I needed. So another 4 or 5 months go by, and she finds out again. When I get up in the morning, my feet hit the ground, I'm gone, and I'm getting ready in the thing. My wife in the bathroom. My wife gets up like 9, back then, 9:30, 10 o'clock, whatever. I come out of the bathroom at like about, I don't know, early in the morning, and she's sitting up in bed with my phone in her hand, and God had told her, look at Steve's phone. And once again, there was something on there that she found. And now it's like this is the second time within a year or two that this has happened. And so I just sat there completely broken, y'all. I was like going, my best has gotten me here, and I don't know what to do. So I was open to anything. And that anything was looking for a Christian rehab place to go to. And we found one in Woodstock, Georgia. Normally rehab for 90 days runs you, $75,000, $80,000, $90,000 a day, and it's all clinical. There's no spiritual side to it, but we found this one in Woodstock, Georgia, where it's both clinical and spiritual, and it was a nonprofit. Well, guess what I do? I raise money for the kingdom. I can do that. So you could raise your fees for staying there, and you're reaching out to family and friends. Let me tell you this, man. If you're going to rehab for alcohol, way to go. Way to overcome that. It's like, look at him fight. If you're going to rehab for drug addiction, same thing. Dude, way to be broken, way to overcome it. You go to rehab for sexual brokenness, you really find out who your friends are. A former employer in the Christian didn't want anything to do with me. So I go there, I spend the 90 days, go back to Oregon, sell our house, and we could not move back to Southern California. My wife had family and friends, and our family in Suwanee, Georgia, so that's where we moved and stuff. So we get going, and as I'm going through life and whatever, and coming out of the rehab thing, I just really learned that my identity. I was reading a YouVersion Bible app program called The Heart of a Warrior. And I thought, okay, here we go again. Heart of a warrior. And everything I experienced in church was like, go now be the Christian man. Go pray for your wife, pray for your family, lead, study the Bible, memorize the verses, do all this stuff that's up here. And inside I'm feeling, I can't do this. I feel inadequate. I feel helpless and hopeless and whatever, and do that. So I came across this one called Heart of a Warrior, and here's what the game changer was. The subtitle of the book, before you can be the warrior, you need to be the beloved son. And I went, excuse me? What? What do you mean the beloved son? Now, I've grown up and went to seminary, and I've got everything that we need to know, we've heard in church, child of God, all that stuff. But for whatever reason, this whole concept of I'm a beloved son, wait, God looks at me as a beloved son? No way. God's looking at me like this. What I had to end up learning was I had this voice of my earthly father in my head and it was blocking me hearing this voice of this Heavenly Father who just thinks I'm the bee's knees and thinks we're all the bee's knees. We're his favorite. Every single one of us is his favorite beloved son. And I had to literally block my dad out of my life for 2 years. No cell phone number, no whatever, because it was just that, because I needed to understand this heart of the Father. And from that time, I'll just kind of cut to the chase. God's given me this idea during the pandemic. I found myself without a job, and I'd always wanted to start a ministry. And my wife said, well, you've always wanted, you're really good at shepherding men's hearts. And so I did. I filled out the form and sent it into IRS in August of 21, and 4 months later came a reply. It shocked me, because when you open the mailbox and there's a letter from the IRS, I don't know about you, but my blood pressure goes up. This one said, congratulations. So the ministry gave me was bringing kingdom. Bringing kingdom, we do this every day when we love the next person that God puts in front of us. And it's based on the second commandment. Love others, what? As yourself, as you love yourself. Well, I can't love my friend David if I don't love myself. And love myself is not like, oh, Steve, you're so awesome, way to go. It's like, no, I need to understand how God sees me and how he knows me. And when I can feel that and be in that sense, then I can love others. I don't need to beat them over the head with the Bible and hit people with verses. I don't need to win them to Christ. That's the Holy Spirit's job. I just want to love people well and things and stuff like that. So I have a gift for everybody here. One of the books that really helped me through my time was by Tim Keller, who my earthly job while I'm down here and doing this is to travel around, tell people about city to city. But Tim Keller wrote a book, The Freedom of Self-Forgetfulness. And it really helped me understand that true gospel humble person is not a self-hating person or a self-loving person. So I have a copy of one of these for all you guys as you leave. I put my business card in there too. So I would love, if you want to reach out, you got questions or things like that, or if this has resonated with you somehow, stay in touch with me. I come back to Franklin quite a bit. It's one of my favorite Tennessee places to be here and things like that. But that's my story, y'all, and I'm sticking to it.